My greetings, welcome back again today. Today's tutorial is going to deal with sentence structuring. This is an important concept in English, especially in communication and writing. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how two verb sentences are important in English. But let me remind you of something to start with. If you remember, we said that sentences in English are of two types, either one verb sentence or two or more verb sentences. And because we are dealing with two verb sentences, we should consider the concept of agreements. Now, let's start with some important notes. Whenever we have or having two verbs or more, an auxiliary verb and a main verb, or two more auxiliary verbs, or three more auxiliary verbs, there are two agreements. Now we are dealing with one auxiliary and one main verb. One auxiliary, okay, and one main verb. That's the auxiliary and this is the main verb. Okay now? So now we are dealing with one auxiliary and one main verb. Okay, one auxiliary, which is the verb to be, the verb to have, the verb to do, or the modals, and one main verb. So now whenever we have an auxiliary and one main verb in a sentence, there are two agreements. The first agreement is between the subject, whether it is singular or plural, and the helping verb. Let me remind you, if we have a singular subject, we use is, but if we have a plural subject, we use are, and so on. And the same thing applies to have, has or have, does or do, and so on. Now, our second agreement is between the helping verb, and the main verb. For instance, if we are using the verb to be, it should always be followed by the verb ing, the present participle, if we start with a subject, not an object. And if we have an active voice, not a passive voice sentence. Okay, so far? So now again, if we have the verb to be, it should be followed by the verb ing. If we have the verb to have, it should be followed by the past participle or verb 3. And if we have the do or the modals, they should be followed by the base form or the infinitive. And this is called agreement between the helping verb and the main verb. Okay? Now the helping verb, is exclusively responsible for indicating the tense of the sentence. That is, if we refer to is, are, or am, we are referring to the present. Was or were, we are referring to the past. Has or have, present. While had, past. Does or do, present. While did, past. You got it? Now, as for the modals, it can go with the past and present. Let's go on. Now we're going to take forms and examples. The continuous form, singular is or was. Now because this is present continuous and this is past continuous, so is or was plus base ing. The plural are or were plus ing, and I takes am or was plus ing. Now as for the perfect form, okay, we're dealing with has, have in the present, had in the past. Again, it depends whether we are dealing with a singular subject or a plural subject, or the pronoun I. And you could also add so many other pronouns, by the way. You could also say you, okay? You could also say they, and you could also say we. All these pronouns are treated the same, okay? So this also goes only here, actually. It will go down maybe somewhere else. Now, as for the verb to do, okay, now, again, this depends on singular and plural. Does or do, that's in the present, did in the past. All these verbs to do, this is very important, by the way, they are all followed by the base or the infinitive, as you can see. Okay? Again, I could take all these pronouns and I could use them here. Okay? Let's go down. The modal verbs, any modal verb, it doesn't have to be only will. It could be any modal verb. It could be like will, may, can, shall, and so on. And it doesn't make a difference whether we are dealing with a singular or plural subject or even any of the pronouns that we know. Okay, you could use any of these. They all take will plus infinitive. So easy. Now let's consider some examples. Salim is driving. Salim is singular. Therefore, we used is. My friends, plural. Therefore, we said are driving. I am driving. Now, past continuous. Salim was. Again, Salim is singular. While the kids, plural, were playing. I was driving. Present perfect. Salim has started. And you could say has bought a new mobile because we're dealing with regular or irregular past participles. Salim is singular, has. I takes have. Again, you could use any of the pronouns that you dealt with before. Sorry, but we could. Okay, only you could say any of these pronouns. The kids have bought new mobiles. Again, plural. That's why we said have. Now, past perfect doesn't make a difference whether we are dealing with singular or plural or any pronoun. Okay, they all take had plus past participle, as you say, had gone, had gone. Finally, the future simple, any model that should be followed by the base form. Now let's go down to the practice. This is an easy one. Okay, let me just show you. All that you have to do is to consider the verb that follows the helping verb. Now, in this case, done is in the past participle, so it should be has. Although I could say the employee is or was, but I can't say the employee is or was done because the employee here is used as a subject, not an object. The secretary, now writing here, writing, verb plus ing, it should be either was or were. The secretary is singular, therefore we should use was. Started is in the verb 3, past participle. I should be have. Although I could use are for cleaners, but again, this is a present perfect. Therefore, have is followed by the past participle. Now, listening is verb ing, just like this one. And Muhammad is mufrad, so like singular actually, in Arabic actually I said it. So it should be as, is. Now here, you, plural, okay, seen, past participle, we're using have. Son is singular, therefore we said was, and was is one of the verb to be, should be followed by the ing. Has should be followed by the past participle, fixed. And why did I say has? Because Ahmed is singular. The manager did is followed by the base form. Did doesn't make a difference with whether we start with singular or plural. Again, this thing applies to will as well. Minister, will, should be followed by the base form. And again, can is again another modal verb. It should be followed by the base form. And these are the answers. Thank you for being with me today. Hope to see you in our next tutorial, which will deal with 3 verb sentences. Thank you very much.